Good evening, all. I'm Parth Mukeshbhai Mangroliya from Surat. I'm pursuing my master degree in the Department of Floriculture and Landscape Architecture in ASPEE College of Horticulture, Navsari Agriculture University, Navsari. Today, I'm here to present my talk, which is on succulent plant wonders, care and cultivation. For better and easy understanding, I have divided my topic in this following manner, which includes introduction, importance and uses, characteristics of the plant, growing condition, propagation method, and problem with care. Let's start with the basic introduction. Succulents are those plant in the nursery that everyone wants to buy. Their small structure, color, and their beautiful tiny form attract the people to buy them. And now, what the question is arising in our mind, then what is succulent? Succulent, it is a plant that is characterized by its ability to store the waters in the part of that particular plant. This adaptation allows succulent to thrive in arid and semi-arid condition where water is scarce. The term succulent is basically derived from the Latin word. The word is succus, which means juice or sap, that emphasizing the plant's that water retaining feature. Now, coming to the importance of succulent, first one is low maintenance. Succulents have an ability to store water in their fleshy leaves, so it requires a very less amount of care. Second one is water conservation. As I mentioned, that this plant have an ability to store water in their leaves, stem, as well as root, so the requirement of water will be less. Third one is aesthetic appeal. From small container to big vertical farming, the plant is available in different form. Now, fourth is air purification. Some indoor plants which absorb the toxic substances like xylene, toluene, and formaldehyde from the air, which has carcinogenic property. But this succulents is also useful as indoor plants to clean the air. Next is versatility in design. From interior scaping to landscape, this plant is available in different size and shape as well as different color. Next is therapeutic use. As we all know that aloe vera has highly antioxidant property, and it is very useful and most popular that medicinal plant in all over the world. And last one is drought resistant in landscaping. This particular plant is useful for xeriscaping where the scarcity of water is less. Now coming to the use of succulent. First one is pot plant. Succulents is highly useful as an interior scaping. Next one is hanging basket, string of pearl, string of heart, then different varieties of string. They are highly useful for the hanging basket purpose. Next is terrarium and disc garden. Generally, terrarium is referred as that enclosed transparent structure in which the green plants has been grown. In case of disc garden, it is same as terrarium, but the difference is that it is open. Next is living wood. People kinds of sedum, they are highly useful for ground cover. Next is medicinal property. Succulent in case of aloe vera, it has antioxidant, antibacterial, antifungal property, and it is the highly most popular medicinal plant in the world. Next is culinary purpose. One succulent is agave. The one wine is made up from that particular agave plant. It is known as tequila. And this tequila wine, it is most popularly in Mexico, and it contains 45 to 50% alcohol. Next is landscaping. Succulent is highly useful in case of xeriscaping where water is scarce. Now coming to the characteristics of the plant. First one is water storage tissue. Uh, as you see that this aloe vera plant, it has an ability to store water. This tissue is basically the modification of parenchyma cell or modification of stem as well as leaves. It has an ability to store water. This tissue can swell and hold a significant amount of moisture when water is available. Second one is, you can see in this picture, it is reduced leaf surface area. Many succulents have been adapted by reducing the size of their leaves and evolving scale instead. As we know that some species of monstera and epiperan, they have a broad leaf surface, so the rate of evaporation as well as transpiration will be high. But in case of this succulent plant, it has a reduced leaf surface area. Third one is shallow root system. Succulents often have shallow root system that can quickly absorb moisture from the occasional rains or dew. These roots are also efficient and extract water from the soil. Fourth one is thick waxy cuticle. This is the most prominent feature of this particular succulent plant. The outer layer, as you can see in this picture, the outer layer of this succulent is known as cuticle. This cuticle helps to retain moisture by reducing the water loss through transpiration. Next is chem photosynthesis. It belongs to the xeriscaping group. So this chem means crassulacean acid metabolism. It has the different mechanism of photosynthesis in case of succulent. In this chem, you can see that stomata will be open in the night time, and it creates that mallet. This mallet will go into daytime, and it further move for C3 as well as C4 cycle, and you can see that stomata will be closed in daytime. So this is that water saving adaptation that allows them to open the stomata at night, as I mentioned that. When temperature are cooler and humidity is higher, then it will be helpful for reducing water loss. Now, next feature is drought dormancy. Succulents have an ability to go into a dormant for a certain time of period. In this state, they reduce the metabolic activity and conserve energy until that condition will be improved. So it works as that food for that particular dormant condition. Next is salt tolerant. Succulents often have mechanism to deal with high soil salinity. It is that common feature in arid air environment. Some due to this feature, some species are also used as a vegetable purposes. Here I mentioned some biodiversity of succulents at our Vardhi University, Navsari Agriculture University. We consist of some species of Haworthia like Haworthia sembiformis, Haworthia cupri, Haworthia limifolia, Haworthia zebra, then Haworthia glabrata, Haworthia corcata, Haworthia jacobsiana, Haworthia mutica, Haworthia nigra, then Cryptanthus, Kalenkoi, some species of Echeveria, Portulacaria, then Sedum, then Sansevieria. Sansevieria, it comes under indoor as well as succulent plants. Next is Kalancho, then Portulaca, Zed plant, Pedilanthus, Plectranthus. It is also known as Tangleheart. Some species of Adenium, then Zizi plant. Now coming to its growing condition, let's move to the climate for succulent. Succulents grow well in cool and tropical climate. It requires 21 to 29 degree Celsius during its growing condition. It is essential to protect them from prolonged exposure to temperature below 4 degree as freezing can be determined. When temperature will be lower than 4 degree, the leaf will be frozen, and it is responsible for the cracking of leaves. Now coming to the growing media for succulent, it is the most prominent, or we can say the most important component for successful growing of succulent. Succulents require well-drained potting mixture for their growth and development. Water should be drained out after watering to prevent from decaying of stems and leaves. There are so many types of growing media for succulent, but according to Allen in 1972, the ideal potting mixture for succulent is 50% sand plus 50% peat or compost. The combination of charcoal plus perlite. It is also used for better drainage, aeration, and nutrient supply. Now coming to the watering. Watering, it is the most important and problematic for this particular succulent plant. Succulents are adapted to arid climate, so it requires a dry period between two watering. Water thoroughly until it is that common for all plant, not for succulent but all plant. When you water the plant, water should be thoroughly until the pot should be completely dry out. During the growing season, succulents may need for more frequent watering, while in case of dormant season, they require less water. It's always better to underwater than to overwater succulent. This is the solution for succulent lovers. Now coming to the light requirements for succulent. Succulents generally grow in shady and semi-shady condition, but some species like Adenium and Zed, it requires 4 to 5 hours of direct sunlight. If you are providing that less amount of light, then you find that leggy growth and stretch growth. But in case of more sunlight, the sunburn and discoloration will be there. And now coming to the fertilization of succulent plants. Succulent plants are generally slow feed fertilizer, so it requires slow releasing granules. So we can use granules as well as liquid fertilizer. However, always use fertilizer at half of quarter strength to avoid over fertilization. During the active growing season, fertilize succulents once a month, but stop fertilization in their dormant period. Before applying fertilizer, water the succulents thoroughly to prevent root burn. For liquid fertilizer, dilute and pour on the soil as usual as in other plants. Now coming to its propagation, propagation is most problematic for a succulent lover because it is highly susceptible to decaying by mean of watering and fungus. There are so many types of propagation method. First is seed, to develop a new varieties. Second one is leaves. Mostly succulents are propagated by mean of leaf. Third is stem cutting. It is help to prevent the rotting from the leaves. Then fourth is offshoots or pops. It is that separation of pop, and it is the quickest method of propagation. Grafting means to join the two different part of the plant like rootstock and scion, and tissue culture for the mass multiplication. That propagation of succulents is quite problematic because they are highly susceptible to watering. But I believe that nobody is born with a green thumb. Learning is more important in this process. If you are going for a propagate this plant, you may die the plant, but it's completely okay. Learning is more important. Now coming to the first method is seed. Collect the seed from mature succulent plants. So in well-drained cactus or succulent mix, that it is given by Allen in 1972 is 50% sand plus 50% peat or compost. Then water should be most, not overwatered. In case of any propagation method, it is most important. New varieties can be developed by seed propagation method. Development of varieties of adenium at Navsari Agriculture University. As you see this in photograph, that GAD1, then next is GAD2, third is GNAD3. It is also known as APA. You can see this profuse flowering. Then fourth is GNAD4. It is also known as Shobita. And the fifth variety is Shashank. It is white flowered variety. It will be released in the next year. Then next is leaf cutting. Select a healthy leaf. You can see in this photograph, it should be mature and healthy from the parent plant, and it should not be plump, or it should be free from diseases. Allow the cut for air dry for better callus formation. Then put it in this media. Then after the immediately putting, do not water this because it is highly susceptible to overwatering. So roots and new growth will eventually emerge from the base of the plant. You can see in this first photograph. As for an example, some species of Kalanchoe, sedum, and echeveria, they are propagated by mean of leaves. Next is stem cutting. It is same as leaf cutting, but the difference is we are taking the portion of the stem. The further process of the propagation is similar as leaf cutting, but the main advantage of this stem cutting is we can prevent the plant from the root rot. In case of this picture, you can see that we are cutting from the from this scissor to this plant, and it is helpful for prevent the root rot from the succulent plant. Next is offshoots and pups. You can see in this picture, this is called as offshoots. When the new babies, or we can say pups, arises from the base of the plant, we have to generally twist this plant and separate it in a particular growing media. Some species of Haworthia, aloe vera, echeveria, and agave, it can be multiplied by mean of offshoot. But one important things that we have to consider in our mind, that if this babies or if these pups have a root, then we have to go for direct planting. But if does not consist of root, then we have to wait for a callus formation, and after that we have to put it in a media. Next is grafting. It is most popular in adenium, in which we are joining two different parts. Upper part is known as scion, and lower part is known as rootstock. Then for an adenium, generally freight grafting is recommended because it gives 95% success rate. In case of our Navsari Agriculture University recommendation, taking of 1 centimeter thickness of scion gives the profuse and early flowering in case of adenium. Now moving to tissue culture, where low seed production, low germination rate, so slow seedling growth or multiplication rate, then tissue culture is boon for them. Some species of Haworthia and aloe vera is propagated by mean of tissue culture. Succulents are highly susceptible to root rots caused by fungus and bacteria, and this makes it difficult to maintain large number of succulents. So micropropagation is used to overcome this problem. But also there are so many infrastructure facilities is not development in particular India, so it is not most popular commercial method for propagation of succulent plant. Now coming to its flowering, succulents do not bear a flower, but in case of this Kalanchoe and Adenium, they are known for their beautiful flowering. In case of Kalanchoe, for better or induce the flowering, provide bright and indirect sunlight, allow it to soil and dry out between watering. The temperature is very important in case of this particular Kalanchoe plant. 10 to 18 degree is ideal for this Kalanchoe plant. The use of cycocel, it is growth retardant. It helps to dwarfness because it sees the vegetative growth and the convert the plant into flowering condition. And early flowering, you can see early flowering is will be there in case of psychocell, and it is the known recommendation of our Worthy University that taking a 25 ppm of psychocell helps to induce early flowering in case of calenture. For adenium, hot and humid climate is best for flowering, proper pruning, watering, and fertilizer. Particularly, practically, I also noticed that adenium it is a potassium-rich fertilizer. So peel of banana it is best for flowering in succulent, which helps for better nutrition supply. Sorry. Problem with care. First is overwatering. As you can see in this photograph, that yellowing or transparent leaves wilting. It sees like that wilting of leaves. Solution for or remedy for overwatering is give the water which required for that particular pot. It is totally depend on the species and planting media. Second is underwatering. The symptoms is shrivel or wrinkled leaves, wilting, and generally unhealthy appearance. Solution is water thoroughly when the top inch of soil is dry, and so water drain freely from the pot. Third one is leggy growth. Symptoms is tall stretched out stem with sparse foliage, which is caused by
The first question is, what are the
yes,
key factors to consider when caring the succulent plants?
yes. The key factor is that first is media, because media play a crucial role in case of succulent growth. Because the proper drainage should be there. If the proper drainage will be there, the water will not stagnate in the pot, and it will be completely drained out from the base of the plant. Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. The next question is, can you provide tips on the ideal soil mix for collective succulents, for cultivating succulents?
Yes, ma'am. Practically, what I am using, that I am using 50% sand plus 25% coco peat plus 25%. We can add compost or soil in ratio of 2:1:1. 50, 25, 25.
Okay. How often should succulents be watered, and what signs indicate they need hydration?
For succulent seed, ma'am.
Yes, succulent plants.
In case of watering, ma'am.
Yeah. How often it should be watered?
Yeah, yes. Generally, the thumb rule for succulent watering is if you stick, you have to touch the soil. If it stick to your finger, then it does not require water. But if it does not stick to your finger, then you have to add water. But generally, the rule is that if you are going to watering the plant, complete you have to thoroughly water. But between two watering, you have to put that particular plant for drying out. You do not have to overwater that particular succulent plant for all.
Okay.
It's completely okay if you are underwatering the plant, but overwatering it will definitely kill the particular succulent plants, and they are highly susceptible to overwatering.
Okay. And what signs indicate they need hydration?
Size means, ma'am, I
No,
cannot
no. What
understand.
signs? What is the indication that it shows that they need
Yeah, the
hydration?
shrinkage of leaves. It indicates that a plant is requires watering.
Okay, okay, okay. I'll move on to the next question.
Yes, ma'am.
What type of sunlight is best for succulents, and how
In
should they be positioned?
Yes, ma'am. This is very good question. Succulents required indirect or bright filter sunlight. You can put it in under the canopy of trees or in a veranda or in that near the gallery. When it receives that indirect sunlight, some species like adenium and Z-plant, it requires 4 to 5 hours of direct sunlight. But some species of Haworthia cymbiformis, and then Echeveria, it does not require direct amount of sunlight. So you can put it in that near the window, south facing window. It is the best place for putting a succulent plant.
Okay. And take up the next question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there specific temperature requirements for successful succulent cultivation?
Yes, ma'am. Succulent is basically it is a tropical to warm temperate region crop. So it requires 21 to 29 degree Celsius for their profuse growth.
Okay. What are the common challenges in caring for succulents and how can they be addressed?
First challenge is that price, because when the person or the they are going for to purchasing the plant, it is small, it comes in a very small size, but it looks very beautiful, and the price of the particular plant is very high, and they are delicate to overwatering, or they have a chance to die in care than other than indoor plants. So it is very bad for that grower, for succulent lover, that plant will be die due to overwatering. So according to me that main problem is for carrying succulent is overwatering.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you suggest suitable containers or pots for growing succulent plants?
Yes. For succulent plants, generally you can use what practically I am using the terracotta pot and ceramic pot. Plastic pot is not generally that much popular because it is totally depend on the commercial production of succulent plant. Nurserymen are they are selling in a plastic container because they have to go for a commercial purpose. And in case of if we are going to propagate or plant for our purpose, home purpose, we can use decorative pots like terracotta pots and ceramic pots.
Okay. You mean to say that plastic pots are not suitable for
No, ma'am,
succulent
it is
plants?
suitable for, but it is what I am facing that the nurserymen they are using plastic pot, and in case of if that for a living area we can use plastic pot, but generally if it looks beautiful in that small size, so we have to take that type of pot for that
Oh,
particular succulent plant. So terracotta or a ceramic pot is generally best.
oh,
Then terracotta. Ceramic is most person or most people the succulent lover they are using terracotta that ceramic pots.
ceramic. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What role does proper drainage play in the care of succulents?
Sorry, ma'am. Drainage.
Proper drainage play. What role does proper drainage play in the care of succulent?
Succulent, as I mentioned, that they are highly susceptible to overwatering. So the that 50% said if we are putting in a media, it is best suitable for drainage of the plant. So it will not strike the water in that particular pot.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take up the next question. Are there specific fertilization needs for succulents and how often should they be fertilized?
Yes, ma'am. Succulent, they are not, they don't require that much fertilizer as compared to other indoor plants. But I'm practically using vermicompost. That 1 tablespoon of vermicompost is best, and you can use once a month.
Okay. How can enthusiastic propagate succulents and are there different methods to consider?
In case of research, ma'am, that different composition of media, the standardization of growing media, it should be researched in future, ma'am. And also our university is working on these particular aspects. That what are the standardization of growing media for Havarthia, or we can say Kalencho, or also that for flowering. In case of Kalencho and Adenum, we are that practical experience on that which spray we can use for early flowering.
Okay. Can you tell us about yourself, your background, and how you got interested in this field?
Yes, ma'am. After that, I'm pursuing that. I'm pursuing master degree, but before I was did BSc in this our university, and our Navsari Agriculture University is based in case of floriculture, particular that area. Every plant, every specimen, different varieties of trees, succulents, indoor plants, we are have. So, and particularly for this succulent plant, because they are available in very small size, and people love succulents, but they are afraid to lose them because overwatering is main problem. And I'm my try is that how we can fix that particular problem, and we can care for succulent plant, because according to Vastu Shastra, it brings positivity in our house.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have now completed the round of questions. On behalf of
Thank you.
agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank Mr. Parth Mukeshbhai Mangroliya for the talk and for answering the questions. I'd like to also thank all the participants in the meeting. This meeting will now be closed.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. May I leave, ma'am?